if we are locked into a fixed mindset in some areas, we are gripped in the tyranny of now. If we challenge ourselves in the growth mindset, we can luxuriate in the power of yet.
Unlock possibilities by changing your mindset. You will expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world. You're moving into a land of both blind spots and learning, of things and ideas. You just crossed over into the mindset zone. Join your guide, Anna Melikian, founder of Solo Biz Academy, the director of education for Book Yourself Solid, and a PhD in psychology.
The show you are about to listen is backed by popular demand from the Mindset Zone archive vault. To get all new episodes, make sure you subscribe via your favorite podcast app and visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. There you can find the episode archive, show notes, and other amazing resources, including how to 4 times your success so you can work smarter, not harder, and learn how to leverage your talents to make a bigger impact while enjoying the process. All at mindset.zone. Hi, Anna Melikian here. And today I want to speak about the power of yet and why I think this is one of the secrets for the growth mindset. Because the idea behind this podcast is that our mindsets really determine the way we see the world and the way we behave, what we do, everything we do. And because it's so easy, it's really a natural tendency to stay stuck in fixed mindsets that prevent us from learning new things, from trying new stuff, for stretching ourselves, is really vital to intentionally to cultivate our growth mindsets. And it's very important for me to clarify that these concepts of fixed and growth mindsets are based on the work of Carol Dweck, a Stanford University psychologist, and she has this wonderful, wonderful book called Mindset, the New Psychology of Success, where she describes decades of research about why people succeed or fail, and how these concepts of the fixed and the growth mindset play a role in this process. And I have, and I will put the link to the book and the TED Talk that I'm going to be speaking about now, a video that I'm going to be speaking about now. Both of them will be in the show notes of this episode of my podcast. And like always, you can go to the show notes by going to mindset.zone. So instead of being .com, it's .zone, Z-O-N-E, mindset.zone / the number of the episode, in this case, episode 14. So if you go mindset.zone / 14, you will find all the links and that I'm speaking during this episode. So she has this wonderful book, but I know that sometimes we don't have time to read the book. So I want to give you a flavor of the power of these concepts by speaking a little bit and show you some little bits of her TED Talk, Ideas Worth Spreading. That is a 10 minutes TED Talk. That is the power of believing that you can improve. And you will get a powerful introduction to these concepts by seeing the TED Talk or by listening to this episode of my podcast. And for me, one of my favorite golden nuggets from her presentation in that video is how she explained the power of yet. She begins by describing research studies about how 10 years old children cope with learning challenges. So let me play in her own words.
I wanted to see how children coped with the challenge and difficulty. So I gave 10-year-olds problems that were slightly too hard for them. Some of them reacted in a shockingly positive way. They said things like, "I love a challenge," or, "I was hoping this would be informative." They understood that their abilities could be developed. They had what I call a growth mindset. But other students felt it was tragic, catastrophic. From their more fixed mindset perspective, their intelligence had been up for judgment, and they failed. Instead of luxuriating in the power of yet, they were gripped in the tyranny of now. So what do they do next? I'll tell you what they do next. In one study, they told us they would probably cheat the next time instead of studying more if they failed a test. In another study, after a failure, they looked for someone who did worse than they did so they could feel really good about themselves. And in study after study, they have run from difficulty. Scientists measured the electrical activity from the brain as students confronted an error. On the left, you see the fixed mindset students. There's hardly any activity. They run from the error. They don't engage with it. But on the right, you have the students with the growth mindset, the idea that abilities can be developed. They engage deeply. Their brain is on fire with yet. They engage deeply. They process the error. They learn from it, and they correct it.
Wow. Let's think about these studies for a moment. And what this research is showing us. It's showing us that when a child has a fixed mindset as regards to their skills and abilities, they run away from challenges. They even go so far as to cheat. They go so far that after a failure, they want to compare themselves with children who do worse than they do. Scary. Yet, if they ever grow the mindset, they see difficulties as a challenge to be overcome, to learn from. Their brain fires up. They engage. And it's amazing we can see this even in the brain level of activity of our brains. Is truly powerful. And we are speaking here of researches done with kids, but these same principles apply to adults as well. And think about the implication of these principles for our own personal and professional lives. If we are locked into a fixed mindset in some areas, we are gripped in the tyranny of now. If we challenge ourselves in the growth mindset, we can luxuriate in the power of yet. I love that phrase from her speech that is, instead of luxuriating in the power of yet, they are gripped in the tyranny of now. And how often we are gripped in this tyranny of now. What we think that is like that there is no way of changing. And how can we still say yet and luxuriate on the possibilities of this? So the question is, how can we cultivate a growth mindset in our lives? That is what I always asking myself. And here are some clues from Dr. Dweck.
Here are some things we can do. First of all, we can praise wisely, not praising intelligence or talent. That has failed. Don't do that anymore, but praising the process that kids engage in. Their effort, their strategies, their focus, their perseverance, their improvement. This process praise creates kids who are hardy and resilient. There are other ways to reward yet. We recently teamed up with game scientists from the University of Washington to create a new online math game that rewarded yet. In this game, students were rewarded for effort, strategy, and progress. The usual math game rewards you for getting answers right now, but this game rewarded process. And we got more effort, more strategies, more engagement over longer periods of time, and more perseverance when they hit really, really hard problems. Just the words yet or not yet, we're finding, give kids greater confidence. Give them a path into the future that creates greater persistence. And we can actually change students' mindsets. In one study, we taught them that every time they push out of their comfort zone to learn something new and difficult, the neurons in their brain can form new, stronger connections, and over time, they can get smarter.
Wow, over time, they can get smarter. We can get smarter. We can cultivate, because this is not just for children, also applies to adults. And how can we apply this advice, these suggestions to ourselves? For instance, as a service provider, I can focus on developing my resilience to failure. And if you listen episode 3 of this podcast series by going to mindset.zone/3, you can learn how I see failure. And this is an episode number 3, named Failure and the Way to Success. So when I face a challenge or even a failure, what can I do? What I can tell myself? And one of the things that I tell myself is, I have not learned how to do this yet. So powerful. Think about the possibilities. Every time that you hear that voice that is saying, can be inside your head, can be outside your head, somebody else telling you, you are not good enough. You are not made for being an entrepreneur. You don't have the entrepreneur gene. You are not a good salesperson. You are not blank. Whatever it is that makes sense for you, that stops you. Add the word yet to the end of it. So, I'm not blank yet. For instance, many of my clients, they don't see themselves as good salespeople. So I advise them to think about, I'm not a good salesperson yet. So just write that down. I'm not blank, and fill that blank with something that is stopping you, that is preventing you to move forward, to think big about what you can do and the impact that you can create. And then add the word yet at the end. I'm not, you fill the blank, yet. And feel the power of yet. And see the possibilities that open in front of you when you cultivate this growth mindset in many areas in your life. So if you want to see the video, this TED Talk, Ideas Worth Spreading from Dr. Dweck, you just have to go to the show notes. I have the video there at mindset.zone/14. I also put there some of the quotes and a summary of this episode. And like always, I love to hear your comments and learn about your experiences. If you listen to this podcast via my website, it's very easy. Just use the comments below the show notes. Or you always can reach me by going to my website at annamelikian.com or just type mindset.zone and you will be redirected to my website. And contact me. You can via email, phone, leave me a message in my phone. I love to really know how this podcast is impacting you. So always, I'm very grateful that you are here giving this time to yourself, to this podcast. Have a wonderful life and keep making a difference. Thank you for listening. And remember to visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. There you can find all the episodes and other amazing resources. As always, I'm so grateful that you have crossed over into the mindset zone. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.